Exercise 15, Conversation 1. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a clerk at the campus bookstore.
Excuse me, do you work here?
Yes, I do. How can I help you?
Oh, well, I'm looking for a book for English 100.
Okay. Textbooks are in the back of the store. Did you want a new book or a used book?
I don't know. Is there much difference? In the price, I mean.
Well, that depends. We price the used books based on depending on their condition. But in general, you can probably save, I'd say, at least 40%.
Oh, great. I'll do that then.
Okay. These are the used books over here. Now, which section are you signed up for? See, every instructor selects a book, so there are several different textbooks for each course. And English 100 is a core course, so there are a lot of sections.
I don't remember the number, but it meets at 8 o'clock.
In the morning? That sounds awful.
Really, I've registered late.
Do you know the instructor's name?
Yes, it's Henry. Henley...
Hendricks?
That's it, Hendricks.
Oh, well, that's not so bad then. She's a good teacher. I wish I'd taken that class with her.
That's what I heard. My roommate had her last semester.
Oh, then why don't you use your roommate's book? I don't think Hendricks changed the order this semester.
Wouldn't you know? My roommate sold all her books at the end of the term.
Oh, so she sold the one for this course? Too bad. Well, this is the shelf, and you're looking for a book called College Writing. I think it's green, or maybe green and blue. There should be a fairly clean one here.
Thanks. Look, here's one. Oh, but it's pretty marked up.
Let's see it. Sometimes it actually helps to use someone else's highlighting. I mean, if you happen to get an A student's book.
True. I see your point. But really, I'd really rather highlight it myself.
Okay. That one didn't look like it belonged to an A student anyway. Hey, look at this. I don't think there's a mark in it, except for the name.
Wow, that's great.
Wait, let's check on the edition.
The edition? Does that matter?
Uh-huh, it really does. Sometimes there's new information in a later edition, so that's why the professor orders it. But the worst part is if the instructor is always referring to, say, page 50, and the information is on a different page in your edition. Well, it gets confusing.
Oh, anyway, this is the 10th edition.
And you need the 10th edition. You're really lucked out. The new one would have cost you at least $30, but this one's only $15.
Thanks.
Wait a minute. See this? Right over here, over the shelf? It's a list of the books that Professor Hendricks ordered. And it looks like, yep, you have another book for that class. It's not required, but it's recommended.
So I don't have to buy it?
No, it's up to you, but you'd better look. Take a look at it before you decide.
It looks like a handbook. Or really,
A style manual.
Exactly.
Well, then the instructor will probably want you to, use the format and style in this book for your essays.
I'd better get it then. Don't you think?
I would.
How much is it?
All of these are $10, but they're fairly clean because people don't usually write in a handbook. I mean, it's more of a reference.
Well, I'll take one then. This one looks good.
Okay. Are you looking for anything else?
No, just this. But I really appreciate your help. You saved me some money.
Glad it worked out for you. I'm a student, too. I just work here part-time, and believe me, I understand the problem. Most of the textbooks are $50 or $100. When you're taking, say, 4 classes, that really adds up.
It sure does. Anyway, thanks again.
Sure.
Number 1. What is the purpose of this conversation? Two. Why didn't the woman use her roommate's book? 3. According to the man, what is the problem with using an older edition? — 4. 4. Why does the woman buy the style manual? 5. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
I don't think Hendricks changed the order this semester.
Wouldn't you know? My roommate sold all her books at the end of the term.
Why does the woman say this?
Wouldn't you know?
6. What can we infer about the woman? Conversation 2. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a librarian.
Hi, is it true that I can search the library catalog from home? From my home computer? One of my friends at the dorm told me I could do that, but I live off campus, so I wasn't sure whether it would work for me.
You're talking about the Oasis catalog, which is the online library catalog system. Here, it's easier if I just show you at this computer terminal.
Okay, thanks.
See, first you get online.
Oh, I get it. It's all through the internet.
Right. You click on a browser, then go to the library, the home page.
Wait. The home page is www.awu.com.
Right. See all those options? Oasis is what you want for the catalog. So you click on that.
Okay. Did you use a password or anything to get into it?
No. All you need is an internet connection. But if you actually want to look at the books...
I can do that.
Sure. You want to go to a different website, though. Here, first enter www.netlibrary.com. There. See? This site lets you access all the e-books in our system.
Oh, wow. Do you have many of those?
Thousands. They're all part of our collection. But we store them electronically, which means we don't have to have all that shelf space anymore.
Sounds good.
But if you want to access NetLibrary, then you'll need a username and a password.
So how do I just set that up online from home?
No, you have to set up the account here in the library. You can do that on this terminal if you like.
Great. Then I can see the books on screen from my apartment.
You can view the books from any place you have access to the internet. If you're out of town or you go somewhere on break, you can still use NetLibrary. Of course, we don't have all of our books online yet, but we're working on building the collection.
So can I go directly to NetLibrary to do a search, or do I have to go to, what do you call it, the Oasis catalog first?
You can go right to the NetLibrary if you want, but that'll just show you the books and databases that are online. If you search Oasis, you'll have access to all of the books in print. The ones in the library as well. Of course, you'll have to come into the library to check them out.
Let me see if I've got this. Oasis is exactly like the catalog for the library here at school. And so I can find all the books and materials that are on the shelves, but I can't see them.
Right. But if you want to go to NetLibrary after you use Oasis, then you can look for a particular resource to see whether it's part of our online holdings. If it is, then you can just read it on your computer screen. Look, you can enter a title or an author or even a subject, and then you get a list of books. When you click on a title, you see the table of contents. You can read one chapter or the whole book if you want.
That is so great. Oh, one more thing. If I don't have time to read it all, do I just start over again next time? Or, is there like an easy way to get back to my book?
It's very easy. You just bookmark your place and click on your ebook when you go into the site next time. It'll open to the page you marked.
Well, I think the best thing for me to do is open an account and then go back to my apartment and start working with it.
There's a help screen on the site, but if you get stuck, just call the library and someone will walk you through it.
And how do I pay for this? Do I have a one-time fee or a monthly charge or what?
No charge. It's part of the library system. You're a student here, so when you log in, you'll be asked to enter your student ID number after your username, and then your password. And that's it. Here's the screen you need to open the account. I'm sure you'll like using NetLibrary. Everyone does.
Number 1. What is the main topic of this conversation? Two. What is Oasis? Three. How does the man set up an account? Four. How does the man pay for NetLibrary? Five. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Let me see if I've got this. Oasis is exactly like the catalog for the library here at school. And so I can find all the books and materials that are on the shelves, but I can't see them.
Why does the man say this?
Let me see if I've got this.
Six. What will the man probably do now? Exercise 16. Conversation 1. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a secretary at the newspaper office.
I'd like to put an ad in the newspaper, please.
A classified ad?
Yes, I want to sell my furniture. I'm moving.
I see. May I have your name, please?
Bill Martin.
Martin?
YN.
Okay, Martyn. And your address, Mr. Martin?
For the next few weeks, I'll be at the Garden Apartments on Book Boulevard.
Is that where you want to be billed?
No, I'll probably be gone before a bill could be sent. I'm just going to pay cash.
Okay. The rates are by the inch, not by the word. So if you want to use abbreviations, that might save you some money.
Oh, that's a good idea. I have everything written out here, but I'll just check it over before I give it to you. Maybe I can use some shorter words, too.
Okay. You can use that table over there to make your revisions. Just bring it back to me when you're ready.
Number 1. What prompted the conversation? Two. What does the man want to sell? Three. What is the man's last name? Four. How will the man pay? Five. Why does the man decide to revise what he has written? Conversation 2. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a sales clerk at the family store.
Will that be cash or charge? We also accept debit cards if they are on a local bank.
I want to pay by check, if I may.
Certainly. That's cash then.
Cash?
Yes, both money and checks are considered cash. Only credit cards are charge.
Oh,
Just make the check out to the family store.
okay.
And I'll need 2 pieces of identification, a driver's license and a major credit card.
Well, here's my driver's license. I don't have any charge cards, but I do have my student ID card from City College. Will that be all right?
I think so. I need 2 numbers. Your student number is on the ID, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Do you need anything else?
Just put your telephone number on the front of the check.
Okay.
Good. Now let me give you your license, your ID, and your package. And thank you for shopping at the family store.
Thank you.
Number 1. What is the purpose of the conversation? Two. What is meant by the term cash? Three. How does the woman pay for her purchase? Four. What did the woman use as identification? Five. Who was the man in this conversation? Exercise 17. Conversation 1. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor on campus.
I'm really sorry, Professor Irwin. I was sick yesterday.
Look, I'm not upset that you couldn't keep the appointment, but it is common courtesy to call. You know that.
Yes, I do.
During registration, I have to see all my students, and sometimes they have to wait several days to get in. When someone doesn't show and doesn't call, that deprives someone else of an appointment time.
You're right. I apologize. I didn't feel well, and I guess I just wasn't thinking straight at the time.
Okay. Apology accepted. Now I suppose you need to set up another appointment.
Yes, I do. Can you see me now if I wait?
No. I can see you at 3 o'clock this afternoon or during my office hour on Tuesday or Thursday.
Great. Your office hour is best. That's 2 o'clock, right?
That's right. Which day do you prefer?
Tuesday.
Okay. Be there this time.
I will be. Thanks a lot.
Number 1. What is the main subject of the conversation? Two. When is the man's new appointment scheduled? Three. What should the man have done about his first appointment? Four. What is the man's excuse? Five. What word best describes Professor Irwin's attitude toward the student? Conversation 2. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor on campus.
Dr. Newberry, could I speak with you?
Sure. Come on in.
I need to ask you to let me take the final early.
May I ask why?
Yes, it's because I bought a ticket to go home for Christmas, and my flight leaves on Tuesday. That's the day before the exam.
Yes, well, Penny, the exam schedule is printed in the registration materials. You had to know the dates. Why didn't you buy your ticket for the day after the exam?
Truthfully, I just made a mistake. And now I've got a real problem because the ticket is non-refundable, and I can't afford to buy another one. Dr. Newberry, I live too far away to get home for Thanksgiving and spring break like the other students do. This is my only chance to see my family during the school year. I'm sorry that it happened. But couldn't you make an exception this time? Or could you give me an incomplete and let me make it up next semester?
Okay, anyone can make a mistake. You can take the exam on Monday.
Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Number 1. What is the woman's main purpose in this conversation? Two. Why does the woman have a problem? 3. On what day is the exam scheduled? 4. What does the professor decide to do? 5. When does this conversation most probably take place? 'Exercise 18. Conversation 1. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor.
Dr. Stevens?
Oh, hi, Jim.
I'm a little early, about 10 minutes. Do you want me to come back later?
No, not at all. Come on in.
Thanks.
Have a seat. I want to talk with you a little bit before you take the test. You realize that this won't be... But it isn't the same test that everyone else took in class last Friday.
Yes, I know. I noticed that policy on the syllabus.
Good. I try to include everything on the syllabus. But, well, students don't always read a syllabus that carefully. So, the test that I gave in class was mostly multiple choice and true-false and with a few matching. In other words, it was an objective test.
Okay.
The makeup is an essay test with, let's see, it has 3 questions on it. I occasionally give oral recitations instead of essays, but...
Oh, I'm glad it isn't an oral exam.
Good. In general, my makeup tests are, let's say, they're more difficult than the tests in class. Because, frankly, I want to discourage my students from using the makeup option.
Okay, I understand, Dr. Stevens. I'm just glad to have an opportunity to make it up. I was so sick last Friday. Believe me, I couldn't have gotten a good grade on a test.
And how are you now?
A lot better, thanks. I went over to the health center instead of going to classes last Friday, and I got some medicine, some antibiotics, and some kind of decongestant. By Sunday, I was feeling better. You should have seen the waiting room over there. Anyway, I was lucky. My other classes meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I have one independent study. I didn't miss any other classes. I mean, just yours on Friday. Too bad it was a test day, though.
Yes. Well, when you finish this, you'll be all caught up.
Mostly, I still have a lot of reading to do in my other classes. That medicine just knocked me out, so I slept a lot. Am I the only one taking a makeup?
You are. So if you want to get started, you can just leave your books here. All you need to take with you is your pencil and just a second. I'll get your test. Here you go.
Thanks.
Why don't you take a look at it, and I can answer any questions you have before you get started.
Okay. It's pretty straightforward, Dr. Stevens. The only thing I can think of to ask is how long the essay should be. For each question, I mean.
Well, the answer should be as long as it takes to respond to the question, but that doesn't help you much, does it? I'd say you'd need 2 or maybe 3 paragraphs to develop each of the questions fully.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, then. You can just leave your jacket and your backpack here. There's a conference room 2 doors down, and it should be quiet there. I'll show you where it is. And then when you finish, you can just bring your test back to me.
You'll be...
I'll be in my office.
Oh, Dr. Stevens, sorry. I just thought of another question. How long do I have to finish?
Of course, I'm glad you asked. 50 minutes, which is just about the same amount of time you would have had in class. But knowing you, I think you'll probably finish long before that. Do you have a watch on?
Yes.
Good. I don't think there's a clock in the conference room. In any case, if you haven't turned in the test by 1:45, I'll come to the room to collect it, okay?
Okay, well, thanks again. I appreciate this.
You're welcome, Jim. Good luck.
Number 1. What is the main topic of this conversation? Two. Why did the man need to take the test? Three. What kind of test will the man take? Four. How long does he have to complete the test? Five. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
50 minutes, which is just about the same amount of time you would have had in class. But knowing you, I think you'll probably finish long before that.
Why does the professor say this?
But knowing you, I think you'll probably finish long before that.
Six. What can we assume about the man? Conversation 2. Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor.
Dr. Jones?
Hi, Marge.
Hi. I was wondering whether to make an appointment with you or, whether I should come back while the secretary's here.
Do you have time to talk now? My 2 o'clock canceled, so I'm free.
That'd be great.
What do you have on your mind?
Well, I need your advice. I like your class. I mean, it's my favorite one.
I'm glad. Are you a biology major?
Pre-med, but biology is my emphasis.
Good. And I'm looking at my grade book, and you have a B+ in the class. You could probably pull that up to an A before the end of the semester.
I know I could. If I had the time to study. But the problem is, well, you see, I took 6 classes this semester, and that's okay. I can handle that. I've taken 6 classes before, and I've done all right, but 2 of my classes are lab classes. So I have the labs and the lab assignments on top of the classes, and I'm really in over my head.
I see. Labs do take a lot of time.
They do, if you do them right. So I thought, if you'd give me permission to drop your biology class, then I'd take it over again next semester.
Well, it's very late in the semester to drop a course. You have only 2 weeks left before the final.
I know. I can't do it without the professor's, without your signature, but I just don't see any other way.
Marge, I'm sure you've thought this through, so can you tell me why you decided to drop the biology class? You said it was your favorite class, and you're doing well in it. So I'm a little surprised that you didn't decide to perhaps drop another class instead.
Oh, no. You see, I'll have to take the course that I drop over again. From the beginning, I mean, next semester. And I really like biology. And I really like the way you teach it, so I thought I wouldn't mind repeating it as much as, well, some of my other classes.
I see. Well, have you considered taking an incomplete?
Not really. I've never done that. I'm not even, not sure what it means.
Marge, what you would do is continue attending class, but you wouldn't have to turn in your lab reports and take your final until next semester.
Is that possible?
Not always, but in this case, I'm willing to do it, with one condition.
What's that?
I want you to write a memo to your advisor explaining that the 18-hour schedule was too much and that you have indicated to me that you don't plan to take so many hours again. And I'd like to have a copy of the memo for my file.
Oh, Dr. Jones, I'd be glad to do that. I really learned my limits this semester. I mean, I know, and I don't ever plan to get myself in this mess again.
Good. Then I'll fill out the paperwork when I turn in my grades, and you'll see an I on your grade report. And Marge, I should tell you that if you don't complete the requirements for the course by the end of next semester, then you'll receive an F for the class.
That won't happen. I'll finish my lab reports and study for the final over the break, and if it's okay with you, I'll just take the exam as soon as we get back. In January, I mean.
That's a good plan.
Number 1. What is the purpose of this conversation? Two. What does Marge mean when she says she is over her head? Three. Why does Marge want to drop the biology class? Four. Why does Marge need the professor's signature? Five. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
I see. Well, have you considered taking an incomplete?
Why does the professor say this?
Well, have you considered taking an incomplete?
Six. Why does Dr. Jones want Marge to write a memo to her advisor? Exercise 19. Consultation 1. Listen to part of a consultation in a professor's office.
You wanted to talk about the results of your laboratory experiment? Did you have any problems with it?
Yes, Professor Smith, we did.
And you two are lab partners?
Yes, we are.
Well then, can you go over the procedure for me?
Sure. First, we put 10 grams of crushed limestone in a bottle.
Anything special about the bottle?
It was a gas collecting bottle with a one-hole stopper and bent glass tubing.
Very good. So you put the limestone in a gas collecting bottle. Then what?
Then we poured in 10 milligrams of hydrochloric acid, put on the stopper, and collected a bottle of carbon dioxide.
Right. What was the method of collection?
Water displacement.
Good.
Then we lit a magnesium ribbon and put it in the bottle of carbon dioxide.
And carbon deposits began to form on the bottom of the bottle. You see, we didn't have any problem with procedure.
Well, we had a little problem getting the magnesium ribbon to stay lit until we could get it into the bottle.
Okay, but we did it. The big problem was that we really didn't understand what happened. Did the magnesium combine with the oxygen in the carbon dioxide?
You have just answered your own question, Bob. The burning magnesium broke the carbon-oxygen bonds in the carbon dioxide, and then the oxygen combined with the magnesium to produce magnesium oxide.
And the carbon was freed to deposit itself on the bottle.
Exactly.
Number 1. What is the purpose of this consultation? Two. What was deposited on the bottom of the gas bottle? Three. What caused the deposits? Four. Where does this consultation take place? Five. What can we infer from this consultation? Consultation 2. Listen to part of a consultation with a professor.
Dr. Anderson, could you please clarify the requirements for this course? Some of us are a little bit confused about the final examination.
Oh? Well, you have two options in this course. You can either take a final examination, or you can write a research paper instead.
Excuse me, Dr. Anderson. That's the point I need you to clarify. What kind of research paper did you have in mind? An original study, a report, a book review, perhaps?
A report. A summary, really, based upon a reading list of current research in the field.
How long should the reports be?
Length is really not important. I should think that it would take at least 10 pages in order to develop the topic, however.
And should we check the topic with you before we begin writing?
You may if you wish, but the only requirement is that it relate to current trends in United States foreign policy. Are you considering writing a paper, Jane?
I'm not sure. I think that I'd like to know a little bit more about the examination.
All right. 100 multiple-choice questions covering both the lectures and the outside readings.
Didn't you say that you would give us 1 hour for the examination?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to do the paper then.
Me too.
Number 1. What prompted the consultation? Two. What kind of research paper has Dr. Anderson assigned? Three. What kind of examination has Dr. Anderson prepared? Four. Which option do the students choose? Five. Based upon the consultation, which course does Dr. Anderson most probably teach? Exercise 20, Consultation 1. Listen to part of a consultation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Professor Davidson.
Oh, hello, Larry.
I know it's not your office hour right now, but I saw you and I wondered if...
Sure, come in. What can I do for you?
I just want to check something out with you from the lecture on Wednesday. I want to get it straightened out before class tomorrow because...
Because it might be on the quiz.
Well, yes.
Okay, fire away.
It's about hotspots. Under the ocean, I've got 2 questions. First, you said that hotspots appear to be fixed in place for, tens or even hundreds of millions of years. And they're stable even when the lithospheric plates move over them. And then you said that volcanic activity is stronger at hotspots.
Right so far.
Then I have in my notes here that in Hawaii, I think it was Hawaii because I have Iceland scratched out and Hawaii written in. So I think it was in Hawaii where the hotspots have active volcanoes under the ocean. And the volcanoes continue to erupt, and that builds the island.
Right again.
Now, here's the part that gets confusing. I wrote this down. The quantity of lava produced by hotspot volcanoes is so large that such volcanoes are the tallest topographic features on Earth's surface.
Larry, that's exactly what I said in my lecture.
But then this is what I can't figure out. I wrote that the mountains in Hawaii are only about 4,500 meters above sea level.
Oh, now I see your problem. The island actually rises 5,500 meters. That is, 5,500 meters from the sea floor to the surface of the ocean.
From the surface of the ocean. So then, I need to add 5,500 meters to the 4,500 to calculate the actual elevation from the surface of the planet, which is actually the ocean floor.
Exactly.
Well, that takes care of one of my questions.
Okay. What else do you have?
It's about hotspots again. The ones remaining in place as the plate moves over them. What did you say about chains of islands? Like Hawaii, to use that example again.
Okay. Visualize a hotspot on the ocean floor. It doesn't move, but the plate moves over it, and the plate carries one of the Hawaiian islands that the hotspot has created away from the hotspot that formed it.
But the hotspot is still active, so it's still building an undersea formation the undersea formation will become another island close to the first island. Okay, and then the plate moves the second island away from the hotspot, so a chain of islands, that's how a chain is formed, from the same hotspot.
From the hotspot and the movement of the lithospheric plates.
The
The lithospheric plates. Lithospheric just means Earth's crust and the upper part of the mantle.
So this process is going on all the time.
It is. In fact, if volcanic activity continues at its present rate, another island may be appearing at the end of the Hawaiian chain.
Really?
We've given it a name already, Loihi. Of course, we won't actually see it above the surface of the ocean for another 10 to 40,000 years, and you and I won't see it at all, but we are observing it closely as it continues to build underwater.
That is so cool.
It is, isn't it? And to get back to your original question, when Loihi is only a few feet above the water, it will already be a very significant topographical feature.
Because of the height it has reached before breaking the surface.
Well said. You should do just fine on that quiz.
Number 1. What is the purpose of the consultation? Two. What is the main topic of this consultation? 3. What is the altitude of Hawaii? 4. What does the professor say about the newest Hawaiian island? 5. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Of course, we won't actually see it above the surface of the ocean for another 10 to 40,000 years, and you and I won't see it at all, but we are observing it closely as it continues to build underwater.
Why does the professor say this?
And you and I won't see it at all.
6. Put the following events in order to explain how island chains are formed. Consultation 2. Listen to a part of a consultation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Dr. Gilbert. Are you busy?
Just getting organized for my class.
Oh, do you want me to come back later?
No, come in. This is an open office hour. I was just working on some notes until someone showed up, so...
Thanks. I want to talk about my term paper. I have a topic, but I'm not sure where to begin. I'm finding so many references. I couldn't possibly read them all.
Okay, what's the topic?
The Baroque style.
The Baroque style?
Yes, I really like the...
Opulence is the word usually associated with Baroque.
I was thinking of over the top, but opulence is even better. I'm attracted to it.
Well, that's good. You want to choose a topic you're interested in or attracted to. But let's talk about the problem you're having. Rhonda, it's no wonder that you are finding so much material. The topic is extremely broad. To really do it justice, you'd have to write a dissertation. Remember, your paper is supposed to be only 10 to 12 pages long.
Well, I haven't started writing yet. Do you think maybe I should choose another topic?
Another topic? No, I didn't say that. I said the topic was too broad. What you need to do is narrow it down. Look at one aspect of the Baroque style, perhaps architecture or painting or sculpture. Or you could do some research on one artist and discuss how the Baroque style is reflected in the work. You could probably even narrow it down to one work by one artist and still have more than enough material for such a short paper.
Oh, okay. Actually, that sounds really good. A lot more manageable. Thanks, Dr. Gilbert.
Wait a minute, Rhonda. Let's talk a little more about the research you've been doing, and maybe we can find a topic.
Really? That would be perfect. I have my research on my laptop, but...
Just talk to me about it.
Okay. I started out with some general sources, and I found a lot on Bernini.
That makes sense. Bernini was certainly at the center of the Baroque movement. But even that topic would be very broad since he was such a Renaissance man. Hard to imagine someone who could be a sculptor, a painter, and an architect. I think he even wrote plays and composed music. So what else did you find?
Well, I had a lot on Versailles. And the Hall of Mirrors and the Spanish painters of the period.
Diego Velázquez.
Uh-huh. And did I mention St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome?
So you have Italy, France, and Spain in your research.
More than that, I've got some information on the Dutch Baroque, too, although I think it seems different from the rest somehow. Wasn't Rembrandt Dutch?
Right you are.
So...
Hold on a minute, Rhonda. Of everything you've read, what's the one person or building or work of art or fact that you found the most interesting?
Let me see. Well, probably the architecture.
And which structure stands out in your mind?
Oh, that's easy. Versailles. The inside, though, not the outside, which to me has at least some classical influence. Don't you think so? It isn't as typical of Baroque as the magnificent rooms inside the palace.
I would agree with that.
I actually saw Versailles when my family was living in Europe 5 years ago. My dad was transferred to London, and it was so great. We traveled a lot while we were there. The trains go everywhere, but you probably know that. I didn't get to Italy and Spain, though. I'd like to someday.
Well, let's see what we've accomplished. You started out with Baroque, which was very broad. Then you said that you were interested in architecture, which limited the topic somewhat. And let's see, then you found one building.
Versailles.
And as I understood you eliminated the outside of Versailles, so your topic is much more narrow now if you choose to write about the interior of Versailles. Frankly, that's still a major topic.
Is it? So, do you think I should narrow it even more?
I do. Remember, a 10-page paper is only a few thousand words, and I should think 15 to 20 sources should be more than enough.
Well then, how do I put this? Do you think I could find enough to write about, if I just focused on the Hall of Mirrors? I think I have more than 20 sources about that in my list already.
I'm sure you could. In fact, you should probably think about an even more specific aspect of the hall, something that would interest you. There has been a tremendous amount of research on it. Look, why don't you go back to your research files and try to come up with a title? We can talk about it more after you have a title. And then I'll try to direct you to some specific resources if you don't have enough material already. How's that?
That would be perfect. Maybe I can have it figured out. I'll try to have it by class tomorrow.
Number 1. What is Rhonda's problem? Two. How long should the paper be? 3. What does Dr. Gilbert suggest? 4. Where did Rhonda's family live 5 years ago? 5. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Hi, Dr. Gilbert. Are you busy?
Just getting organized for my class.
Why does the student ask this?
Are you busy?
6. What will Rhonda most probably do? 21. Discussion 1. Listen to part of a discussion among students in a study group.
So, what do you think will be on the test?
I'll bet the first question will be, define the term organization. And Dr. Graham will want it, word for word. So here it is, straight from the book. An organization represents a specific type of social relationship or arrangement between persons, with either closed or limited admission and regulations enforced by a person or group in a position of authority.
You got that right. He's gone over that definition at the beginning of almost every class since the last test. And then, let me see here, then we'll probably have to compare formal and informal organizations. So this is the answer, guys. A formal organization is characterized by formality. No surprise there. A hierarchy of ranked positions and a complex division of labor, as well as a relatively large size. Okay. Now, want me to do informal organizations?
I'll do it. An informal organization brings people together to explore a common interest.
Okay. Don't forget about bureaucracies.
Yeah. Besides the definition, what?
I've got a lot on Weber's ideal type of bureaucracy.
You do? I don't remember anything about that.
Here, let me read you some of my notes. It's called Weber's ideal bureaucracy. Maybe you'll remember something. I have a list of the characteristics. 1, paid officials. 2, benefits for career officials. 3, salary increases, seniority rights, and promotions by examination. 4, hierarchical organization.
Oh, okay, sure, I have that. I just didn't have it identified. As Weber's ideal bureaucracy.
You've got them all then? All the characteristics?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay, we should probably be ready for the Bensman and Rosenberg, the Bensman and Rosenberg study.
That's the one about advancement, right?
Right. I have it summarized like this. It's not what you know, but who you know.
And how well you're liked by the right people.
Bingo.
Moving right along, Parkinson's law has to be there. Here's what I have on that one. In any bureaucratic organization, work expands to fill the time available for its completion.
I always get that mixed up with the, what's the other one? You know, the Peter Principle.
No, listen, the Peter Principle is in any hierarchy, every employee tends to rise to his level of incompetence.
Okay. So what does that mean, really?
Look, let's say you're a great professor and you get a promotion to maybe department chair, which is an administrative position. But you can't use your teaching skills in the administrative position. So you aren't as successful. You see, you got hired on the basis of skills that don't translate. Transfer to the next job.
So you don't get promoted again because you aren't doing such a great job, as an administrator?
Right. You reached your, just a minute, I've got it right here. You've reached your level of incompetence.
Listen, the way that I keep them straight is to think Parkinson's law is about the work and the Peter Principle is about the people.
Hey, thanks. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Do you think he'll include anything on leadership?
Maybe. If he does, he'll probably ask us about the two different types of leaders.
Okay, let me see if I can remember that. The instrumental leader is goal-oriented and organizes the group by assigning tasks, and the expressive leader is more socially inclined, someone who works toward. Let me think. The expressive leader works toward solidarity among group members by offering support.
I'm impressed. That's almost word for word from the lecture.
Remember, Dr. Graham doesn't reward creativity. He's looking for the stuff he taught, just like he taught it. Haven't you noticed how he grades the quizzes?
I know. Just kidding.
Okay, so the short answer questions will be explain the Peter Principle, state Parkinson's law, summarize the Bensman and Rosenberg study, Bensman and Rosenberg, and contrast formal and informal organizations. Anything else?
Compare the two types of leaders.
Right. That leaves the what's his name, ideal bureaucracy for the essay?
Weber's ideal bureaucracy.
Weber.
That should about do it then. I think we covered the most important points in the chapter and the notes.
Now all we have to do is review a little and we should be ready for it.
Number 1. What is the main purpose of this study group? Two, who has identified an ideal bureaucracy? Three, which law states that people advance until they reach a position in which they are less likely to succeed? Four, which topic will probably appear as an essay question? Five, listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
You got that right. He's gone over that definition at the beginning of almost every class since the last test.
Why does the man say this?
He's gone over that definition at the beginning of almost every class since the last test.
Six, what can we assume about Dr. Graham? Discussion 2. Listen to part of a discussion among students who are working on a group project.
Okay, let's get going now that we're all here.
Okay.
Fine.
Just to remind everyone, we agreed to do our group presentation on the SQ3R study reading method. And since there are 4 of us in the group, all of you are going to take 2 of the steps in the method, and I'm going to say a few words to introduce the presentation, and then I'll summarize at the end, and finally we can go over the handout.
Sounds good, except I had only 1 step.
Right, Carl. Phil and Martha have 2, though. And, we said we'd all be ready to go through everything this time.
I think we all brought our scripts, Joan.
Okay, I'll start. This is it. Today, our group will show you how to use the study reading method known as SQ3R. The letters stand for 5 steps in the reading process: survey, question, read, review, and recite. Then I'll say, each of the steps should be done carefully and in the order that I mentioned.
Is that it?
Yes. We only have 10 minutes, Phil, and we want to spend, I'd say, at least 6 or 7 minutes going over the handout. So we have less than a minute for each step.
Okay. Well, after the introduction, it's my turn. And I'll say, in all study reading, a survey should be the first step. Survey means to look quickly. In study reading, you need to look quickly at titles, words in darker or larger print or italics, words with capital letters, illustrations, and charts. At this point, you don't stop to write. Read complete sentences. Just look at the important divisions of the material.
Okay, I'm up next. The second step is question. Try to form questions based on your survey. Use the question words who, what, when, where, why, and how.
My turn? Let's see. Now you're ready for the third step. Read. You'll be rereading the titles and important words that you looked at in the survey. But this time you'll read the examples and details as well. Sometimes it's useful to take notes while you read. Some readers prefer to underline important points, and it seems to be just as useful as note-taking. What you should do, whether you take notes or underline, is to read actively. Think about what you're reading as a series of ideas, not just a sequence of words. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, thanks. The fourth step is review. Remember the questions that you wrote down before you read the material? You should be able to answer them now. You'll notice that some of the questions were treated in more detail in the reading. Concentrate on those. Also, wait a minute, I changed this part. Also, review material that you didn't consider in your questions. Martha?
Sorry. The last step is recite. Try to put the reading into your own words. Summarize it either in writing or orally.
Done?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just summarize in one sentence. I'll say, SQ3R, survey, question, read, review, and recite. Let me repeat that. SQ3R, survey, question, read, review, and recite. Then I'll say, but to really understand the method, let's take a look at a reading passage and try to use SQ3R. Then I'm going to pass out a passage from our textbook. I thought I'd use something in the next chapter because so most people probably wouldn't have read it yet.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, what's the next chapter on?
It's about motivation. There's a really good passage about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
What's that?
Intrinsic motivation is when you want to do something for your own reasons. But extrinsic motivation is when you have external rewards like money or something. That's really a simplistic explanation. But anyway, the passage isn't too long, and it has, the headings are good, and a few words in bold type, and capital letters. So I think it should be perfect for the survey part.
Look, here it is in the book. On page 351. This does look good for our purposes.
So what are you thinking? Maybe just like have everyone look in their books?
I think we should copy the pages onto a handout. Everybody doesn't bring a book to class. I know I don't. I just show up with my notebook.
True.
Well, it's easy enough to copy it. I'll do that.
I know it'll be a little more work, but it would probably be good to summarize the SQ3R words, maybe at the top of the page.
And it would be nice to have all of our names on it.
Sure, no problem.
Number 1. What is the purpose of this study group? Two. What do the letters in the SQ3R method represent? Three. What does the word survey mean? Four. What will the group do at the end of the presentation? Five. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
At this point, you don't stop to write. Read complete sentences. Just look at the important divisions of the material.
Why does the man say this?
Read complete sentences.
Six. Who is probably the group leader? Exercise 22. Talk 1. Listen to part of a talk by a college professor.
Your test on Friday will cover material from both of your textbooks, my lecture notes, and your lab assignments. There will be 50 multiple-choice questions and 5 short-answer essay questions. The multiple choice will count half of your grade, and the essay questions will count half of your grade. I will tell you right now that there won't be any math problems, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't review the formulas and know what they're used for. I wouldn't bother much with the notes from my first lecture, since that was an overview of the course, but you'll probably want to look at them when you study for the final. Oh yes, this test represents 25% of your total grade for the semester. The lab reports are 25%, attendance 10, and your final 40. Any questions?
Number 1. What is the purpose of the announcement? Two. On the test, how much will the multiple choice questions count? Three. For what percentage of the total grade will the test count? Four. What does the speaker say about math problems? Five. In which class would this announcement occur? Talk 2. Listen to part of a talk by a college professor.
Before you start writing your term papers, I would like to clarify the differences among paraphrasing, quoting, and plagiarizing. All of these activities involve the use of someone else's ideas. But whereas paraphrasing and quoting are legitimate writing strategies, plagiarizing is a serious offense. In your term papers, I expect you to paraphrase, that is, to summarize someone else's ideas in your own words. I also expect you to quote, that is, to copy information from another source and enclose it in quotation marks in your paper. When you paraphrase and quote, be sure to cite the source of your information. If you do not cite the source, then you are plagiarizing. You are stealing the ideas and using them as your own. If I discover that you have plagiarized on your term paper, you will receive a 0 for the paper and an F for the course.
Number 1. What is the main topic of this talk? Two. What is plagiarizing? Three. What are two legitimate writing strategies? Four. What will happen to a student who plagiarizes on the term paper? Five. Who is the speaker?